Welcome back to 4Willy D, and I'm Willy D. In this episode, we're going to try to install this roll cage in this Jeep, and pretty much escalates faster than I ever thought it could. Alright guys, so we got this Jeep project back here that we're about to start working on, but I need to kind of explain what exactly happened. I tried to explain the beginning as I was going along and working on this. The only problem was I really didn't know where I was going with it because, well, I don't know what I'm doing. In the video, you'll see this cage kind of halfway put together, and I never really explained how I came to get this cage while I was just sitting in the vehicle. And that's because I actually bought this cage off another guy that came out of 1960 Willys Jeep, and my plan was just to bolt it into my 1960 Willys Jeep. And due to the fact that my Jeep's kind of bent.
Get bent.
In every single way you can think of, and not completely structurally sound, things went off the rails pretty quick and escalated much faster than I thought it would. So originally my plan was to just bolt it down right here in the back, and then bolt it down, here in the front. However though, once I got it set in here and I started looking at things, I found out these wheel wells are not structurally sound, and I wasn't gonna be able to just sandwich to these wheel wells and then call it a day. So then I started to figure out that I need to add more structure to it to get it tied into the frame, so that way this was actually a safer roll cage, as opposed to one that would just squish me if this thing were to get rolled. So as you watch this video, just keep in mind we're not building really a full roll cage, but we are building something that makes it look cooler and safer, mainly the safer part. So with that quick explanation, I hope you now know what's going on, and we're gonna get right into this video. Okay, so first thing we got to do here to the Jeep is we're going to take off the doors, take the top off. So you're going to notice that there's already a roll cage inside the vehicle. It's not actually installed. I just set it in there. And we'll go over kind of what my game plan is. This is the whole point of what the Jeep's in here right now, is to actually fully install that roll cage. I've only done this once before, so. Well, that is awkward as hell to carry. So, as of right now, I don't have a game plan yet, exactly what we're gonna do here to try to get this mounted to the frame as opposed to the body. I think I'm going to end up cutting a hole around it basically, and then make a bracket that goes under here on the underneath side to the frame. I'm going to have to figure out something. It looks like I'll probably use some channel, measure something out. Anyways though, I'm going to get a game plan real quick and I'll get back to you. Starting to think that I should have gone this differently. Should have done is I should have just cut it right there at that spot, so that way I could have gotten the forward piece right where I want it, and then put my rear piece right where I want it, and then just make new bars in between. And that's what I'm going to end up doing. Pretty much everything I just did right there, total mistake, total regrets. That's okay. Lesson learned. Not that big a deal. So we got our tubes cut off a roll bar over here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set it onto the Jeep. and then put it right where we want. I need to figure out what's going to determine the placement. The thing that we need to work on to figure out the placement of our roll bar is actually how forward and back it goes. And the reason being is that between the main hoop that goes up around like that, we're going to have a bar that goes right in here like so. And that's where the harnesses are going to go ahead and attach. There's where the harnesses are going to attach.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
So, to know where this bar goes is what's going to make the placement of our forward and back of the roll bar. And we'll try to make it somewhat square. I'm going to call it today. I'll pick it up again tomorrow. Mistakes were not made. No regrets now. Not a single letter. If our harness bar is going to cross like this, we need to make sure that we don't make it too low so that the arm straps are holding you down. That's the point of the lap though. If you put it so that the straps are holding you in, supposedly that's how you can break a collarbone. The real point of the shoulder harnesses is to keep your body from lunging forward. So you make sure we get it high enough so that it's not pulling down. But you also don't want it too high. It's gonna be funky, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of actually gonna go off a reference of I think my side by side because it feels right. I'm gonna mark out where my shoulder sits on this, and then I'm gonna measure to see how far above my shoulder is on the razor for the cross one on that one, and then I think I'm gonna try to go for the same thing on this one. So the one good thing about this whole project being out of square is that I just need to make it look like it's square. So it's a little out of square, you'll never notice because the rest of the vehicle is out of square. Yeah, I've actually am really glad I did end up cutting that wheel well. It's allowed me to kind of make the pitch right at the roll bar. At first I regretted it, but now it's one of those happy mistakes. What I paid for this roll bar cage thing that I thought was going to bolt right in, I probably could have spent on DO and tubing less. I would have spent less on just buying straight tubing and making it from scratch. I think maybe in my head I'm trying to justify it a little bit on the money I spent on this thing. But it is making a really good pattern for me to start with. It's making a great foundation, I think, for a solid roll cage for this vehicle. And it's definitely going to be one of those things where it's not perfect, but it's going to be more than good enough. This thing can't go faster than 55, first of all. And it weighs less. There's no way it weighs more than 3,000 pounds. So it's going to be really light. And it's going to, and if it ever gets to something that's extreme, then I'll really do the roll cage then to something that's better. But this thing is still a stock Willys on 35s, and it's still going to be way safer than it was before when it had nothing. So this, I think, is actually a really good first-time project for me. I spent way more money on it than I probably should have, but that's, I'm thinking this is kind of the cost or the entry fee into getting into being able to fabricate things like this. And hopefully down the line it'll save me money because I'm not going to be paying somebody else to do it. I'm going to know how to do it myself. That's the idea, at least. So, and I'm having fun doing it, so there's that part too, right? So I do have a shopping list. I need tubing, I need plates, I need cutoff wheels. I need to buy a corded grinder. As much as I love using my cordless grinder, man, it is. I hate how I keep running out of batteries. Though I love using a cordless grinder. When I gotta do a lot of work, with a grinder. I really need a corded one, so I'm just draining right through the batteries. So I kind of got figured out where this forward hoop's going to go, what all I need to do to get it more adjusted correctly. We'll go ahead and hack off the down bars up there, or I don't know what I'm going to call them. Main bars right there. We're going to cut those off. Not usable. They're not going to be long enough. Not going to reach the roll bar. So I have complete PTSD from getting a piece of metal in my eye about a couple months ago. So I've been trying out some different things at PBE. Between you see I use the goggles, and now I'm going to try using the shield and safety glasses. When I got that piece of metal in my eye, I was actually wearing safety glasses. It actually what happened is the piece of real tiny piece of metal fell behind the glasses and into my eye while I was grounding underneath the truck. And I actually didn't realize it was in there for like 2 whole days, but once I found out it was, man, it drove me nuts. And then I went to the urgent care, and they actually made it worse until I went and saw the eye doctor the next day, and then I got to have the piece of metal sanded out for my eye. Yeah, it was not a fun experience. So I'm gonna try this out. The goggles were starting to fog up on me. And you know what? I also noticed you guys never leave me any comments, and I think it'd be great for you guys to leave some comments about the PBE that you guys use. What do you guys like? Do you like using the goggles? Are you just a safety glasses guy? I'm gonna try using out the shield. Last time I got hurt, it was just safety glasses. That's why I'm trying to go above and beyond. So yeah, I know right now I'm not wearing my leather jacket, so I'm getting shavings all over me. But that is what it is. I'll deal with that later. It's too freaking hot out right now to put on the leather jacket, so I should probably invest in getting some sleeves. Maybe that's what I was trying. Do you guys use sleeves? You use leather jackets? What do you use? What do you guys got? Huh? Let me know. Okay, so we've got about pretty as far as I can get right now into getting the roll bar ready for some welding. I need to go buy more materials real quick. I need to start by Harbor Freight. And go ahead and get a grinder that's corded. I'm sick of running this battery issue. Battery's dying, so I'm gonna get a corded grinder, probably a bigger one too. And then I also need to get some just regular shop supply stuff. And then we're gonna head over to New Mexico Metals LLC and get some tube, some 1 3/4 DOM. It's a new day. Yesterday I went to the hardware store. Yesterday I went to Harbor Freight. Got some more tools. We got the tubing now. Right now I need to make the mounting points that are going in the bed of the Jeep. I'm trying to be kind of practical about this. This isn't a tube chassis frame, rock crawler. This isn't a race car. We're just trying to make it so that if it were to be in a rollover event, it would hold. This thing only weighs, no way it weighs more than 3,000 pounds. I'm trying to get this cage tied into something structural. And these bolts down here, they're tied into the frame. So are these two up here. So right now, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna put a plate right here, then we're gonna put a tube up to that corner, and a tube up to that corner. Maybe we can put a tire mount back here. Let's see about that. That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool, huh? We need to go to the place with helpful hardware folder. This is the place where. How's the jingle go? Ace is the helpful place in hardware, folks. Ace is the place. I don't know. Let me go to Ace Hardware though.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Alright, so we made it to the hardware store. Got us some grade 8 bolts. So if you're seeing this chop saw wondering why I didn't cut the flat part, it's because I forgot I had it. Sometimes you get so many tools, or what happens to me sometimes is I forget about tools that I already have, and I just go for whatever's closest and the fork band is closest. I don't have much experience coping, so I didn't know how much I was going to take. So we're going to cope one side first, and then see how much that takes and how much I'm left with. And then I can maybe kind of do some rough math and figure out the right length for the other side. So I got it marked here, a third down right here. What we're trying to do is we're going to do basically a straight cut to notch it. We're going to do one this way, and we're going to do the exact same one the other way. I think. It looks like, oh man, we are close. Still got some pretty big gaps, but we're also going from a smaller piece to a bigger piece. So I need to start grinding this out more. I can either use a grinding wheel or might have a sanding disc just the right size. Alright, I know this is big and intimidating, and your mother wants to know if we sell them in bulk, which I'm sure they do. And the plan here, with this sanding disc, you'll notice is the same size as our tube that we're attaching to. In theory, this is the idea that that's the size we're trying to go to, so we're going to try to clean this up with this size wheel to try to get this to kind of almost morph into what we want to attach it to. Probably did up well, but I want it way too good. Letting the air compressor catch up. If you're wondering why I got a big giant smile on my face, and that's because, man, I love it when I outwork my tools. Now, it does mean I need to spend more money and get a bigger air compressor, but I tell you what, it feels really awesome when you know you're doing something, and we're doing something. Okay, the air compressor caught back up. Let's finish grinding this sucker out. Now that I got this piece coped, I wasn't sure how it's gonna change in length, because once you cope it, you know, you're basically pushing the one piece into another, so that, you know, it kind of goes around like so. Now that I know how far it took that way, I went ahead and marked on both sides where the notch stopped at. So that way I went from there, so that way I know when the other side is notched, you know, we're right where it's going to be at. So the idea is, you know, we're going to get this fitment like dead on, so you get like that almost snap-in feeling. So when it comes to any of these notches, even if you have a notcher, which I don't have, you got it, that last fit and finish fit, you got to do it by hand. There's no way around it. You're going to be grinding it. You want to get it cooked in there just right. And it really doesn't take that much time. Now, it's not taking me near as much time as I thought it was going to. You see I'm making those 2 straight cuts, and then I'm just going into the grinder, busting out the burrs, and that right there gets you pretty darn close right off the bat, and then you just got to touch it up a little bit more. So don't be scared. I know I was at the beginning of this project, but you know, once I started getting the swing of it again, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't that bad. Okay, just so you guys have a perspective on how much gap we have here, which here looks like pretty much none. This is an 1/8 inch, 1/8 of an inch diameter piece of filler rod. So there, no gap, none. That thing is touching. Over here, same thing, boom, that thing is touching. Man, I got this one on the money. It is perfect. Couldn't ask for a better fit. All right, now I'll go to the other side. Right here, again, great fitment, almost no gap. There's a little bit of gap down here. Pretty much none all the way around. Pretty much none all the way around here. However though, over here, I do have some gap. And if you look at the filler rod, and it looks like it's kind of hard to see without any light. Without the light, it looks like there's a huge gap. The truth is, there's really not that much. Like I said, that's 1/8 of an inch filler rod right there. So you can see that's about maybe a third, less than half. So that's less than a 1/16 of an inch gap. The bottom, it's getting up on there on the 1/8 inch. So, like I said, this isn't a roll cage. This is definitely a show cage. As in, I wouldn't trust it if I had a LS V8 in here. But we don't have LS V8. We have a 4-cylinder making 70 horsepower. This is basically a little bit bigger than a golf cart with 35-inch tires on it. And this is definitely, I think, a good project for me trying to become a better fabricator, because I know that this isn't a race car. You know, I'm not trying to bite off more than I can chew, but I got to start somewhere. I know it's not going to be perfect. And like I keep saying, even when I was talking in my trailer videos, you know, we're working on stuff that's not really that important. And that's because we're trying to get better so that eventually we can work on the things that are really important and make some really good fabrication. Alright, well, that's it for this episode on the Jeep series. So you'll probably see a second one and a third one come out. I'm trying to crank out one of these videos every 2 weeks. So next Saturday, I won't be back with it. Saturday after that will be the next one. So anyway, so before we head out, I just wanted to give my friends and family a huge shout out right now for helping me out with these videos. Your guys' feedback has made these videos way better. Anyway, so until next time on 4 Willie D.